So what are the tenants' rights for both commercial and residential property because of coronavirus? Please check out this video as I go through all of the details. Okay, so let's go to the first bit. The first aspect I want to talk about is the no eviction for residential properties. So if you are a tenant or you have tenants, then you do need to bear in mind your rights as a tenant and the rights of your tenants. So by that, I mean is if they cannot afford to pay their rent, then they do have rights to stay in the property for 3 months at least. Now, typically, I thought that it took 2-3 months to even get on the eviction process anyway. So I rather suspect what they're saying is that they were allowed 3 months of not even for you to pursue an eviction. And then after that, you then got to go through the eviction process, which could take 2-3 months as a minimum. So we could be looking at 5 months as a lockdown. Now, the one thing I would say to you is do reach out to your tenants. The one thing I've heard, which is and utilized myself, funny enough, recently, is look at the ASTs of your tenants and see what business they're in. So if it says self-employed or if they're a doctor or nurse, then you know, well, financially they should be okay, but from a health perspective, are they going to be okay? And that really plays a part if you're doing HMOs. So if you've got doctors and nurses in a house whereby they're sharing a kitchen, bathrooms with other people, then you do need to think about, well, how do we protect other tenants in that property? I don't know the answer, if I'm honest, and it'd be interesting. Have you guys listening to me now got properties which is a HMO and you've got a doctor or a nurse inside? Now say, good man, love you to bits, my friend. What are your thoughts about this in terms of if you're in a HMO? Because I know you have property investments as well. Surely you have doctors and nurses or medical professions. What are you doing to protect them as a person in your property and indeed the other tenants? So we do need to think about that. But from a financial perspective, what can we do? If you've got someone that cannot afford to pay you because they've lost their job, or indeed they are no longer able to pay because they're sick, then you could do what I do, and that is call and contact your tenants. How are you? How are you doing? Are there any worries or concerns you have? Now, it's nice when people reach out to someone else anyway. So my view is try and reach out to your tenants, have a look and just be caring. Be supportive to them. Find out what's going on. They may just say, well, no, everything's absolutely fine for me. I've been laid off or I've got this kind of payment. I'm okay. They might say I'm ill, and then you might have to have a conversation. I had a tenant that lost his job, not because of COVID-19, interesting enough, but because of Laura Ashley, just coincidentally came into the same time. What did I do? I said, we can keep you in that property for another month or two while you find a job, and we can accrue your debt over a period of time. And he said, well, actually, I know I've got a year's contract with you. I've only been in the property for 3 months. I was thinking, could I come out? Well, I think the best will in the world is to say yes. And that's what I've done. I've said that they can leave the property early. I can re-advertise that property to someone else that might need it. And away we go again. Now, I appreciate that you can't do viewings. But one thing I would say to you is I have lined up viewings already, but we are also doing virtual tours as well. So there may be ways of you still doing property viewings out of your property and then doing those from a distance. Now, to be honest, I've probably been overkill, because you could say, well, here are the keys, go and show yourself around the property and you wait outside. And then once they've done, you can then lock up. So it is a way for them to see your properties anyway. So it shouldn't really stop you. You can do virtual tours, or you can do tours of your property that you have for let on Spare Room or whatever sites that you're using, and ultimately have a better prospect of renting the property to a tenant that can pay it. So do speak to your residential tenants at all times. The same applies now for commercial properties as well. So if you cannot afford to pay your rent, Then again from March, and both residential and commercial properties, I should have said, is from March, covering all of March, but mostly April, May, and June. So those 3 months, but it was the back end of March as well. There's no eviction for commercial property tenants either. So if you do have a shop or an office and you cannot afford the rent, then you are protected from eviction for a period of time. Now, typically, I would say that most commercial tenants won't look to kick you out straight away, because who else are they going to rent out the shop to anyway? So they have to see it's from a common sense perspective and make sure that you have conversations again, right? So if you've got problems, or you are a landlord of I don't know if you call it landlord, but if you own a commercial property and you have a tenant in there, or you are indeed a tenant, just reach out to each other, use the common sense, pick up the phone. How you doing? What can we do? Can I discuss this particular subject? Well, why not book a call with me, Simon Misiewicz, your finance tax director, for at least an hour to understand how we can help you grow your business without paying the tax.